widely known as J.D. Vance, is one of the most talked about political figures in modern American politics. His journey from a struggling childhood in Appalachia to becoming a U.S. Senator is often described as dramatic, emotional, and deeply American. Vance is not just a politician. He is an author, a former Marine, a venture capitalist, and a voice for a segment of America that many felt had been ignored for decades. J.D. Vance was born on August 2, 1984, in Middletown, Ohio, a small industrial town in the heart of America's Rust Belt. His early life was far from easy. He grew up in a broken home, surrounded by poverty, family instability, and addiction. His parents divorced when he was young, and his mother struggled with substance abuse for many years. Because of this, Vance was often moved between households, never having a stable environment to call home. The person who had the greatest influence on his life was his grandmother, Bonnie Blanton Vance, whom he lovingly called Mama. She was tough, outspoken, and fiercely protective. Mama became his emotional anchor. She taught him discipline, self-respect, and the value of hard work. In many ways, she saved him from the chaos around him. Vance has often said that without his grandmother, his life could have gone in a very different and darker direction. Growing up in Middletown, Vance witnessed the slow collapse of the American manufacturing economy. Factories closed, jobs disappeared, families broke apart, communities lost hope. This environment shaped his worldview. He saw how economic decline affected not just wallets, but dignity, mental health, and family structures. These experiences later became central themes in his writing and political messaging. After graduating from high school, Vance made a life-changing decision. In 2003, he enlisted in the United States Marine Corps. For a young man searching for structure and purpose, the Marines provided both. He served as a combat correspondent and was deployed to Iraq during the war. The military gave him discipline, confidence, and a sense of identity. It also exposed him to people from all backgrounds, expanding his understanding of America beyond Ohio. Following his service, Vance used the GI Bill to attend Ohio State University. He worked hard and excelled academically, graduating in just 2 years. This was a major achievement for someone from his background. But he did not stop there. He went on to attend Yale Law School, one of the most prestigious law schools in the world. At Yale, he studied under top professors and built connections with influential figures. One of his mentors was Amy Chua, a well-known author and law professor, who encouraged him to write about his life story. That encouragement led to the creation of the book that would change everything. In 2016, J.D. Vance published Hillbilly Elegy, a memoir of a family and culture in crisis. The book was a raw, honest account of his upbringing and the struggles of working-class white Americans in Appalachia and the Rust Belt. It explored themes of poverty, addiction, family breakdown, and cultural despair. The timing was perfect. America was in the middle of a political and social earthquake, and people were searching for explanations. Hillbilly Elegy became a bestseller almost overnight. It was praised by some as a powerful explanation of Trump-era America. Others criticized it for oversimplifying complex issues, but no one could ignore it. The book made Vance a national figure. He was invited on major TV shows. He was interviewed by top journalists. Suddenly, the kid from Middletown was speaking to the whole country. The success of the book also brought him into elite circles. He moved into the worlds of venture capital and tech, working with billionaire investor Peter Thiel. Vance became involved in startups and business investments, gaining experience in finance and entrepreneurship. At this stage, he was seen more as a commentator and businessman than a future politician. However, as American politics became more intense and divided, Vance's views began to evolve. Initially, he was critical of Donald Trump. He questioned Trump's character and leadership style. But over time, his stance changed. Vance began to embrace a more populist, nationalist approach, aligning himself with the concerns of working-class voters who felt betrayed by the political establishment. By 2021, it was clear that J.D. Vance was preparing for something bigger. In 2022, he announced his candidacy for the United States Senate from Ohio. This was a bold move. Ohio is a politically important state, and the race was highly competitive. Vance ran as a conservative populist, focusing on issues like economic nationalism, border security, opposition to big tech influence, and criticism of the political elite. He positioned himself as a fighter for forgotten Americans. One of the most important moments in his campaign was receiving the endorsement of Donald Trump. This boosted his profile massively. Trump's support energized the base and helped Vance secure the Republican nomination. His campaign messaging was direct, emotional, and often confrontational. He spoke about cultural decay, the opioid crisis, the failures of globalization, and the need to put American workers first. The election was intense, but in the end, J.D. Vance won. He became a U.S. Senator, completing one of the most remarkable political journeys in recent memory. From a troubled childhood to the halls of the Senate, his story captured national attention. As a senator, Vance has continued to be a strong and sometimes controversial voice. He supports strict immigration controls, challenges corporate power, and often criticizes U.S. involvement in foreign conflicts. He presents himself as a defender of American families and traditional values. Supporters see him as brave and honest. Critics see him as divisive and extreme. But either way, he remains impossible to ignore. J.D. Vance is also a family man. He is married to Usha Vance, a highly accomplished lawyer who also studied at Yale. The couple has children, and Vance often speaks about the importance of family in shaping his values. His marriage to Usha, who is of Indian descent, is also seen as a symbol of modern American diversity. What makes J.D. Vance especially interesting is the tension in his identity. He is both an insider and an outsider. He knows elite institutions, but he speaks for working-class anger. He understands the system, yet attacks it. This duality is part of his appeal and part of the controversy around him. In many ways, J.D. Vance represents a new type of American politician. He is shaped by pain, struggle, and cultural conflict. He uses personal history as political fuel. His rise is not just about ambition, but about a deeper story of class, identity, and power in modern America. And his story is far from over. As he continues his career in national politics, many believe J.D. Vance could play an even bigger role in the future. Some see him as a potential presidential candidate. Others view him as a long-term ideological leader within the conservative movement. Whatever happens next, one thing is clear. The boy from Middletown has already changed the conversation. He once wrote about a culture in crisis. Now he is trying to shape its future.